herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Why these people who want to do so much good for everyone, who call themselves governments and this and that, why them say you must not use the herb? You see, we just see them just say, no, you must use it because it make you rebel. Against what?
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be.
Guys, order another round because we're staying here. Yeah. What was I thinking going back to Ant Island? I mean, we just got here, and we have more than enough food to get us through the winter, right? Why go back? But there was that ant that stood up to me. Yeah, but we can forget about him. Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant. Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant. Yeah, boss. They're puny. Puny? Say, let's pretend this brain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt? No. Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? Well, how about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want us?
Next up is Rantoul, Illinois. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing? First, I would just like to say that, thank you to the bat right there for just, with all the persecution and all the stuff that's been going on, and you guys have not been getting a lot of fan service as far as things go, and I just really want to thank you for sticking through it and keep doing your job and, keep doing what you do, despite, a lot of people really not liking it. And as far as that goes, I would really just like to give you a nice big fuck.
McLean, Virginia, you're on the one.
How does consciousness become a victim of what I call the polarity matrix field? And how does it attain true liberation? There's something in spooky action at a distance that shows us how we can circumvent the speed of light limit. And there's a way to communicate instantaneously anywhere in the universe. We don't see anything in real time. Anywhere, not even in front of our face, meaning the speed, we see everything at the speed of light, which is not instantaneous. It's the only place you can see evidence that the observer consciousness is the observed is on the quantum level, meaning the quantity of the atom is smaller, which is the study of quantum physics, that you could see that thought was shaping and affecting subatomic structures. When you consider the idea that consciousness is the authority on matter, and that matter, when you look at what atoms are, they're polarity matrices. You have a proton and electron, positive and negative, right? And then when you look at the proton is made up of proton-antiproton, which is another dual matrix, and the electron is made up of a positron-electron pair, and that's a dual matrix. And then when you go into the neutron and the proton, you find this is where all the quarks are, and they're all dual paired. And then you see the tau, anti-tau, the muon, and the anti-muon. It doesn't matter how far down the rabbit hole you go in the subatomic universe, everything is in duality. And that's because it's a reflection of consciousness. Consciousness must have been trapped in duality, because then you go back to the Garden of Eden concept that God warns us, never take in this knowledge of good and evil, for in the day you do, you will surely die. Well, it turns out that what is the whole thing? What is good and evil? The whole thing. It's a conflict. So if we originally existed in singularity, non-dualism, and we take in the knowledge of good and evil, we radiate conflict. And it causes consciousness to go into a conflict.
Mass cannot attain the speed of light, but you can transform mass. And if you transform mass, then you actually understand it on a quantum level, how you can reduce the mass gravity effect towards this mystique zero point. Eventually, mass starts to become lighter and lighter. Cannot attain the speed of light, but you can transform mass. And if you transform mass, then you actually understand it on a quantum level, how you can reduce the mass gravity effect towards this mystique zero point. Eventually, mass starts to become lighter and lighter and lighter in relation to gravity. And eventually they become so light as photons, you can do the speed of light on tiny amounts of energy rather than encountering the inertia that increases your mass to these enormous limits where you just can't move. Once you understand that all inertia or slowing down or resistance is caused by the dual pairedness of reality, and that when Jesus said, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light, first we think, okay, light should be instantaneous. We should be able to detect all events in the universe in real time by some phenomenon. But light as we know it can't do it. It's too slow. So what is light pushing up against that's slowing it down? And then we find Einstein's cosmological constant, which is actually the background substratum of space, which produces negative pressure against light. But if you reduce the mass gravity effect of 2 points in space-time, to move mass in its current form, as Einstein's law shows, it takes too much energy because of the increased mass law and inertia. But if you transform mass first, which is what the masters were teaching us, then you can do it instantaneously with tiny amounts of energy. The resurrection of Christ, that he transformed flesh, physical, corporeal matter, into light, and then he was able to move around the universe with that new transformed body of light. From our perspective right now, when you imagine duality being born, when positive and negative forces encounter each other, they pressure against each other and they slow energy down, and time is actually born. So time in itself is a dual-paired waveform. Time is created by inertia, which is created by duality, which is the proverbial fall from the Garden of Eden. And if there's no duality, there's no inertia, there's no resistance. That means if you enter it, you have to become single to enter it. And if you actually enter it, you are everywhere in the entire universe in zero time. Because there's no resistance, there's no slowing down. You cancel out duality, positive and negative thoughts, pleasure and pain. You actually try to overcome all the pairs of opposites. Jesus said in the Gospel of Thomas that if you make the above like the below, the male, female, and the female, male, the inside like the outside, he keeps going through this list of pairs of opposites, and when you make them all one, he said you will tell the mountain to move and it will move. Because from the single place, the physical universe is just an illusion of what we call time. But when you enter duality, everything slows down and time is born. And when time is born, it looks like there was a Big Bang. But from the place of singularity, it never happened because all events have actually already happened. So there really is no Big Bang. The universe only appears to have been banging or moving through this waveform over time, which is a birth. The duality is the illusion, and then when you enter the single place, that doesn't exist for you anymore. There's peace in singularity. There is no war. And because your mind is single, we don't create this anymore.